Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you're all having a great day today. I wanted to go ahead and touch base on something that's been kind of making its way all over YouTube, especially when it comes to the more recent statements from one Neil Druckmann regarding the possibility that a third game may not happen. They're not working on it anytime soon. I'm going to go ahead and shed some light onto this and tell you why I think that this is complete bullshit, and I think that this is really nothing more than a swerve by Neil Druckmann and Naughty Dog that will produce a third Last of Us video game in the foreseeable future. I don't know when it'll be, but I can tell you with the suspicion that I have had as well as others, I think that they are kind of keeping quiet about a third game because to avoid the mistakes of the second game. The Last of Us 2, when it came out, the biggest well-known thing that really caused a backlash was the leaks, because it got leaked out that we were going to see the end of Joel, the main character from the first game, and also by the fact that the game itself, story-wise, had a bit of a swerve in it where we were supposed to be playing as Ellie throughout the entire game, but we only play as Ellie halfway to the point, and then we have to play as Abby. Then we have to play back as Ellie again in the final showdown on the lake between Ellie and Abby, and it ends up being a complete stalemate. There was no clear-cut winner in the final fight. Ellie ends up sparing Abby. Abby ends up getting on the canoe. She escapes with Lev. Ellie's just sitting there in the water, visibly crying. And then she goes back to the ranch where her and Dina's child were, to find Dina and her child gone, because Dina had said she wasn't going to go through this again. And when Ellie went after Abby, that is when Dina left. To have this kind of ending happen was a huge swerve, and it was one that got a lot of people very angry at Naughty Dog, and most notably Neil Druckmann, because they left that game completely inconclusive. And throw on how we had the death of Joel. The first 10 minutes of The Last of Us 2, they got Joel completely wrong. And yes, Joel was older in this, and I know that through after years of battling infected and psychopaths that maybe he was a little bit more down to earth. But the idea that Joel would basically save a woman who he didn't really even know, to going back to the compound where Abby was with the Washington Liberation Front, a bunch of strangers, I might add, that Joel had never seen before, and he just walks into the place, introduces himself with Tommy, his brother, and then the Washington Liberation Front proceed to kill Joel. That is not something that Joel would have ever done. The way that me and others know Joel to be, as soon as he got Abby to a close point, he would have put a gun on her and he would have said, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" He would not drop his guard as easily as he did, even if it is a case where the infected were going after Abby. Joel would have made sure of it, that this was what it was, and he would not just blindly follow some stranger to a place with a bunch of people that he did not even know about. Well, he might have known about the Liberation Front, but he probably didn't know that they were members of that group. And when he goes back to the compound with Abby, it just went against what Joel was about. If you were to go back to the first game, for example, the scene where Joel and Ellie are in the pickup truck and they see that guy that was faking, pretending to be hurt, and then she goes, "Are we going to help him?" And then Joel goes, "He's not even hurt." And then he knows instantly right away that there was going to be an ambush. How do you go from that to him just blindly following Abby back, who he never even met before the attack, just dropping his guard like that? They got Joel completely wrong. Combined with the fact they're doing this third game, in my opinion, to make up for that. They're doing it because they want to keep the leaks from getting out. They want to make sure that a third game comes along without any hiccups. And I do believe a third game will happen. I don't think they're going to leave it at The Last of Us 2. I think that Neil Druckmann is fooling everybody. I think he's trolling. I think him and Naughty Dog, they're basically swerving us because they are going to be quietly working on this game, and then it'll come out by total surprise. And it's going to be a pretty good game. And this time around, I want them to take their time with it. I don't want them to rush this thing out the door and have a bunch of problems happen like The Last of Us 2 did, with certain things from the game crashing, progress not being saved, all this stuff that came with that game. They are going to do this right, and I do believe they're going to look at the mistakes of the previous game, and that's when they're going to release this game. And this time around, I want them to finally close this game out. I think this needs to be the last time ever with this game. I think that a third and final game is needed. Ellie's last moments of her story, they complete it, give us a happy ending. There you go. So I want everybody to please understand this, that Neil Druckmann and Naughty Dog, you can take what they say with a grain of salt, but try to remember it like this. Why would they not make a third game and leave The Last of Us 2 completely unfinished in terms of the story outcome? Why would they leave such controversy surrounding that game and not make a third game to try to make up for what happened? This whole thing is nothing but a swerve. We will see a third game in the long run. I don't know when it'll be, but if it does get released, and when it does get released, I hope that they have a better chance of it than the previous game did, because The Last of Us 2 has got a lot of controversy surrounding it. So with that being said, guys, thanks again for watching. Tell me what you think. Do you think Neil Druckmann and Naughty Dog are telling the truth, or do you think they're just trolling us? Will they release the third game? Tell me what you think in the comments section. Hit the subscribe button if you're brand new to the channel. Thanks again for watching.